welcome back to my channel. And honestly, I just want to take a moment to like soak in this moment, honestly, because I prepared my whole life just for that line, like welcome back to my channel, que me creo, bien YouTuber or whatever. But nah, let me stop. Now that you're here, if you don't mind subscribing and also turning on the notifications so you guys can keep up to date with what I'm dropping. I hope to drop videos at least like on a weekly or bi-weekly basis. But you guys know like life happens, so sometimes that's not gonna be possible. But yeah, like today my topic of discussion is going to be about my relationship with anxiety and depression. And if you guys really thought that I was gonna come on here and talk about my relationship with my boyfriend, y'all had me all types of fucked up, all types of messed up, all types of whatever. But it's cool, I'm here for it. We all live for a good chisme, and y'all got trolled, and it's okay, it happens. But anyways, thanks for coming. In my first video, I kind of explained to you guys, hey, I have this is what's going on, these are some of the symptoms. But today I really wanted to go deeper into like how my body responds to anxiety and depression, and also how where my mental space is at. So just so you guys know, as I've gone through this journey of discovery of myself and understanding myself, I have kind of like pinpointed some crucial moments in my life where anxiety and depression really started to take over how I viewed the world. I think my biggest fear in life has always been like how people take advantage of those that can't defend themselves, and that has happened to me, and I have been exposed to that at such a young age. I remember being like around 8 years old, and like my mom would just get these letters from immigration. And for everyone who has gone through this process, it's such a time consuming process. It's also very time sensitive, so you have to be like al tiro, like you have to be on point with it. So like I said, my mom was applying for citizenship, and she was getting these paperwork from obviously from US Customs, and it would like the tension in the room would be super thick as my mom was relying on me to translate these important documents. And like sometimes I would try my best, and obviously sometimes I didn't know what the hell I was talking about. But with that said, sometimes her responses to things honestly had an impact on me. So if I didn't know what the hell I was translating, or if I didn't know a specific word, my mom would be like, entonces, ¿para qué te mando a la escuela? Like, damn, chill, homegirl. Like, I'm only 8 years old. Like, I barely know how to spell because, you know, like, but I get it, and I understand her now, looking back, and like, you know, hindsight, how it is. Like, I can understand like her eagerness and like her stress, and how like frustrated she must have been to obviously get these documents that are super important and not know like what the hell they're asking from her or what they're requesting from her. You know, another situation that was like super crucial and like a pinpoint in my life was also like when we would go to the bank and stuff, and like she would ask me things and to translate over, and obviously like these are big words that she's asking me to translate, or whatever they're telling me, I don't know how to say it to her. So I don't know if sometimes I ever made her look dumb, or if she ever looked stupid. And you know, I don't think I ever made her look dumb, but I feel like people looked at us like a certain way because obviously she was using a 13-year-old to translate for her. And I saw all these people like kind of like belittle her at the bank, and that shit just like kind of like pissed me off so much, honestly, because it was supposed to be a moment of them helping her, and instead of helping her, they were just like making fun of her and like gossiping about her, like, oh, look at this señora that can't speak English or whatever. And I don't blame my mom for anything. I mean, I know that she was hustling, you know, and working as many jobs as she was, which is why, you know, she wasn't able to put learning English as such a priority. I mean, la señora se defiende ahora. Like, I'd be talking smack, and she'd be like, what you say? Like, I'm like, chill, man, whatever. Anyways, so yeah, like, anxiety really, like, you know, it's not necessarily just one thing that causes anxiety. It can come over time, and yeah, so I really wanted to get more into detail about how it affects me mentally and physiologically. And just so everyone knows, a physiological response is honestly just breaks down to how your body responds to things. And in order for you to have more of a success, I guess, if you want to call it, in understanding your anxiety or depression or any like mental health concern that you may have about yourself or diagnoses, I think it's super important for you to start to understand how your body is speaking to you. What is your body communicating? So my first indication for any anxiety provoking event is going to be my heart starts to race. Like, that's my first indicator. Like, I can start to feel my heart is racing. It's kind of like when you're about to get on a roller coaster and then like you're getting closer and closer and closer and your heart is actually beating from so much adrenaline. It's the same kind of concept. Like, that's how my heart starts to beat. And then comes the racing thoughts, and these thoughts can be positive, they can be negative, they can be relevant, they can be irrelevant. Like, it could be something so off topic, and it'll just start to take, it'll be like they're fighting in my brain. Like, all these thoughts are like basically ganging up and beating up my brain and just taking over. Forget the ability for me to multitask. Like, I can't multitask for shit once anxiety starts to take over. I will overthink every situation. Like, if my mom sends me to go get frijoles, like, I'll be like, all right, cool. I get to the grocery store and I'll be like, okay, let me get these black beans. But what about those black beans? That's a different name brand, and those tienen no sal. Does she want sal in her beans? I don't know. Does she want them red, or does she want them yellow? Does she want them purple? Does she want them green? I don't fucking know. And then, like, it's just like, if I make the wrong decision, is she going to be upset with me that I brought the wrong frijoles? Because then I have to go back to the store, and I don't know. And that right there is anxiety provoking itself. Like, and I will avoid shit when anxiety is coming through. Like, I will avoid papers. Like, when I was in college, I would avoid that shit just because I just didn't have the self-confidence within myself. I knew, like, I know I'm smart. Like, there's no way about it. Like, I know that yo me puedo defender si me tengo que defender, obviously, right? But for me, like, when I had to hand in, like, research papers and things like that, obviously my teachers were, like, super educated, and, like, I felt so, like, little compared to everyone else in my class. And I think that comes also without saying that I'm a minority. The majority of the students in my class were white, you know, no offense to anyone, but I always felt like they were smarter and, like, you know, or they had better opportunities. And who fucking knows, like, maybe they didn't have better opportunities, but, like, I would just always feel less than. I think that goes back to the instances that I had with my mom, where we had, like, all these people look at her a certain way, and you know, like, so it kind of, like, gave me, like, a little bit of a drive within myself to kind of avoid it. But then also, I don't know what to say, but procrastination just is a bitch for me. I will also overschedule or overwork. Like, I will have, back when my anxiety was at all-time high, like, I knew I had, like, 3 jobs lined up, and if I wasn't working, then I was hanging out. Whatever it was, I was always doing something just to avoid my thoughts. Now, that's anxiety. Now, depression took a whole different, like, turn, and, like, was like, here, bitch, like, just in case if you need more, here's more. So oversleeping would be another thing. Obviously, if I'm sleeping, I can't feel anything. Overeating, so I would overcompensate all my feelings, so, like, literally eat my emotions away. Making decisions still is super difficult because I look at it as, like, oh my god, is it going to affect me in the long run? How is this decision while I'm depressed going to affect me in the long run? The biggest indicator for me when I was super depressed was my room was a mess. Like, and I will go down in my family history as, like, la tia unorganized, the messy tia, whatever you want to call it. But literally, it looked like a tornado came up, tore my room apart, and, like, was like, here, now you deal with this. Like, and I guess for my mom, maybe back then, for her, she kind of thought it was, like, my rebellious stage. Like, oh, she doesn't want to clean her room because she's defying my rules, or, like, And part of it was that, you know, part of it was just like, I don't care, you know. But then part of it was also like, you know, I just didn't have the energy or the stamina within myself to like put my brain efforts to clean my room and make it organized. Because honestly, I loved when my room was organized, because it would just be like makeup and all this different stuff. Like when my room was finally organized, I would take so much pride in it. But then again, had I had this conversation with my mom, I think she maybe would have looked at my room in a different way, maybe looking at it as an indicator of like, okay, something's wrong with her, you know, something, she's not feeling at her best. So honestly, depression really forced me to front. It forced me to pretend like everything was okay, because I didn't want to seem like a weak person. Throughout my whole life, I have always been like in control and like super strong, and like no one would see me fall. And so honestly, when I was depressed, I was fronting. Like I told you guys before, I would go out to Vitas, I would go out to clubs, and you would not see me with the same outfit twice, because antes muerta que decía. Nah, just kidding. But no, honestly, it really was that. Like I was just, you know, I really thought I was like unstoppable. I had just bought a car. I had thought like I had dropped out of college, but I was working 3 jobs. Like I said, like I was mismanaging my money. Now looking back again, because I could have saved that money and placed it towards my future, but of course I didn't. I was more concerned about how everyone was going to view me, and if they viewed me as a depressed and anxiety looking person, like what is that going to say about my mom, and what is that going to say about how she raised me? And I was like, no one's going to ever make fun of my mom ever again. After that bank incident, no one ever was going to make fun of her. So yeah, honestly, just so everyone knows, I had two big impacting episodes of depression. 21, 22, that was my first one, and I pulled myself out of it by fronting. Honestly, that was my way out, and I was only able to fake it for so long until it caught up to me back into my mid-20s, like when I was back at college for my master's, and things were getting real for me. So my level of resilience is honestly just your ability to bounce back from traumatic events or from events that can possibly have a long-lasting impact on you. So yeah, my level of resilience started declining as I started to deal with more things in life, as I started to add more things onto my agenda. So yeah, when I finally hit my depression episode the second time around, I just came to terms again, and I just came to accept that I'm going to be married to depression, and I'm going to be dating anxiety. Honestly, depression is my main, and anxiety is my son, popping up in and out when he wants to, and he be unstable as fuck, and depression be like, nah bitch, I'm here for you, and I'm gonna hurt you emotionally, you know, like, no. But honestly, it's like, all right, this is now going to be how I view the world, but I also need to be aware that how it affects me. So I have to make conscious efforts to understand, like, all right, I need to stop beating myself up. This is my anxiety taking over my brain, and I want to say I have my anxiety brain, and then I have my regular Maria brain. So my anxiety brain will come and hit my triggers, and so Maria brain needs to come, like, you know, fight these negative thoughts out of my brain. And it's really hard, honestly. Like, it's really hard trying to balance all of that, and then just, like, you know, dealing with regular life anyways. I also had to figure out what helps me. So honestly, I really had like very big supportive friends that helped me out, like, just by being my friends. Another one of my friends helped me out spiritually. Like, she really got me in tune with myself. A lot of the positiveness that she was giving me from my friends and everything kind of like helped me rebuild myself back up, and really helped me get through my second episode of depression. So also, asking for help and receiving help are two different things. So I can ask for help, and then I can also like decide if I'm going to accept it as well, because that's been another component of mine. I think a lot of that comes because my mom is like super independent and like doesn't rely on anyone. Like I just kind of like be like, oh, you know what, I got this, like I can do this on my own. But I think that sometimes we have to understand, like sometimes people can't be there for us, and it's okay. Like I'm not gonna say like, you know, like I'm not sticking up for those hater as friends that we have sometimes, like, so those people that we have to deal with on a regular, even though we don't want to deal with them. Like, you know, there's some people that genuinely really do care and they genuinely do want to help you, but sometimes they can't help you. I'm talking about those. Like, we have to be willing to accept their boundaries and understand, like, okay, they can't help us. But if you're not feeling right about yourself in your heart and in your mind, right, and you're not discussing those things at home, you're not approaching those things at home, or you're not dealing with those things at home, when you are out in the world, you are going to most likely struggle because you are not dealing with those internal issues that you have within yourself. And I'm going to say something that, for me, as I've worked in this field and as I've dealt with different types of families, in particular, my Latino families that come from immigrant parents. Sometimes our immigrant parents need to be educated in the essence of, they raised us with the mentality of, okay, we need to sacar our kids adelante. And when my mom was raising me, if she would have had like open conversations with me about what I wanted and what she was scared of, and like what I was scared of, or like where we could have met at a middle ground, I think she would have understood, and maybe would have been a little bit more lighter on me. Because I'm not gonna lie, like I was a little bit desmadrosa or whatever, but I mean, I can understand porque le saqué unas canas verdes a mi mamá, and I can understand why she was a little bit skeptical and why she was scared. But if she really understood like the fire that was in me, like the desire to fucking want to break this cycle, I'm gonna be something of myself. Like, Mom, like you have instilled this independent like female idea in my head, like let me do it, but also let me be a kid too. And again, I think for our immigrant parents, like they grew up in a world where things were different, and they were prepping us for the things that they knew, but they didn't understand like our world was changing as well. So honestly, that's why I say, like, let's start having these difficult conversations and address these different things. Let's break these stigmas. And honestly, just this journey for me has been like super difficult, and I have learned to be easier on myself. Like before, I would beat myself up for not getting things right the right way, you know, and now I'm just taking it like a step back, like really just being nicer to myself and being more positive with myself, even though sometimes it's difficult to do so. So another thing that I would see with immigrant parents would be like that they would compare their struggles to American kids' struggles. Like what I mean by that is that for them, as long as they're providing clothing, or as long as they're providing a house and food, and they're going to school, and you know that's enough. Yes, those are basic necessities, but these kids now, especially now with the internet and everything like that, they need a support. They need us to have deeper conversations, because it's important for parents to understand how kids are perceiving the world based on what's going on at their house. So again, it's going to be a difficult conversation. And comparing myself, my mom would kind of be like, oh, pues, you know, no te tengo en el campo, or like, you're not working, no estás viviendo como los niños allá en México que viven de frijoles and esto and blah, blah, blah. Like, I know that. Like, don't, you know, sometimes I would tell her, like, you know, you're making me feel bad for like, that I'm not grateful that I have frijoles. And yes, I am grateful, but man, like, sometimes I don't want frijoles. Fuck, like, you know, but it would just be like, she would compare those instances, and I get it, but I think that she wasn't understanding like the struggles of being the first child in the family to go to college. She wasn't understanding the pressures that I had within myself about school. She wasn't understanding the pressures that I had to fight off, like, the negative energy, honestly, that I could have engaged in, but that I didn't, you know, because of her. You know, I could have easily gone down different paths in my life, but I didn't, you know, and I wish that sometimes she would have given me that benefit of the doubt. And I'm not here to talk shit about my mom, because my mom is, like, honestly has been the best mom that I could have ever gotten. I said no crying, right? And here I am. I didn't cry in my other take, so she has only been a motivator for me. Like, it hasn't been like anything. But again, I'm not saying parents are going to be like perfect, you know. What I'm saying is, what I'm asking you guys is just to be open and to understand how your kid is viewing the world, and also understand that how you grew up is different, how your kid is growing up is different, and how they're viewing the world is going to be shaped by how you are interpreting different situations. So yeah, like, let me know in the comments, like, what do you guys want to talk about? How are you guys feeling? Like, you know, is there anything that I'm not covering or that you would like me to cover? Also, what has helped you guys get through anxiety or depression? Because sometimes a girl be like a little bit lost or whatever. But yeah, I also wanted to let you guys know that it's important for us to know that feelings are normal, and we will all get through it together. So as I leave you guys, have a glass of wine, have some ice cream, have a michelada, have a beer, have a White Claw, because I heard those things are like good or whatever, but I haven't tried that. Have a Starbucks, or do whatever you want positively. And if you're having a horrible or a sucky day, the world does not owe you. You owe yourself, you know. What I mean by that is, don't go fucking up someone's day. Don't go ruining someone's day just because you're having a bad day. Fix yourself, get yourself right, and then come back out with that positive energy. The world does not owe you this positive energy. You owe it to yourself. So cheers to that, and everyone have a good night. Bye.